feature, part 2 in our series on Pro Tools collaboration. Thank you for watching these so far. I'm Nathan with the Fat Man Recording Studio in Lexington, Kentucky. And we had to change the setup a little bit because once you go to a project file, some of the routing is different, and it didn't want to let my voice go over the video. So I have now set it up slightly differently, but you should still be able to see the project file. So you can see that so where we left off last time, we were creating a project file. We went up to File and then Start Collaboration, and it changed our session into a project file. So the only difference between a project file and a session, Pro Tools session, is that the project file has a whole lot more of this like online collaboration feature stuff. It has this entire collab window right here that is solely for collaborating online. It's completely different. Basically, what this is, it's like a browser stuck inside of a Pro Tools shell. So you hit these buttons, and then the browser becomes active and does certain things. So we'll go over what those things are now. But if you go over to the top left, you've got some buttons at the very top. The first of which is a little person with a plus. That's easy. That's invite another user to the project. You scroll down, and you can go into chat on the project. Each project has its own little chat feature so that you can talk to the people that you're collaborating with. You scroll down to collaboration alerts. This little box will pop up orange or reddish. It pops up to let you know that there are new changes that you need to download to make your version the most current. And on the side over here, we've got Upload All New Changes button, Download All New Changes button, and the Download All Shared Tracks button. So my recommendation is that you turn all of these autos off. The reason for that is if these collaborative files have not yet reached like at GitHub or any other kind of collaborative space where people can work on the same document and it's not destructive. You can collaboratively work. So if I save my changes, it's not going to overwrite your changes, for example. Well, Pro Tools doesn't have that. So Pro Tools instead has these features where you just send each other information and download information. So if you are connecting to your project file for the first time in a while, you don't want it to automatically upload any changes that you might make. You know, if you're listening to things like volume. Sometimes if you just change the volume of a track while you're listening to it, if you have upload all changes clicked, it will send even the volume changes to that person or to all people collaborating on this project file. So it's just easier to do it manually. It's not ideal. Ideally, you would connect. It would give you the most recent version of the project file, and then you can just make your changes and then send whatever changes you want to send, the final. You wouldn't send every single change that you made along the way. So what do I mean by that? Well, let's look at this. Oh, this little meter with the cloud on it, by the way, that's just a meter of your cloud space. So your cloud storage with Avid is indicated right there. So once again, I'm going to go down and look at this little collab window here, and I'm going to explain some of the features. The far left button here, which is like a little square with an arrow sticking out of it, is to share the track. Or you can upload or download changes to that track specifically. Once you make an edit of any kind, if you change the volume, if you pan it, if you do anything at all, your name will appear right here in blue as being the current owner of that track. So does that mean no one else can change it while you're changing it? No, it doesn't. I think even the Pro Tools documentation says that's what it's supposed to do, but it doesn't. So even though you are the current quote-unquote owner of a track, it doesn't mean that you're the only person that can edit or make changes to it. So that's something you need to keep in mind working on this. So those are the basic features. Add a person to the collaboration, open the collaboration chat, There's, check on your alerts, upload all changes, download all changes, download all shared tracks. Why you wouldn't necessarily want that on auto is because sometimes, for example, if you have, like we have drums that are 8 microphones, if you want to send somebody drums to record a guitar along with, you don't want to put a bunch of drums, send them 8 drum tracks. It just doesn't make sense. It's not efficient. So what you would do instead is you would commit those tracks and then send them the final waves so that those people can take the drum tracks and just play along with them rather than looking at a hi-hat, a kick, a snare, and all that. So for those reasons, it's good to turn off the auto buttons up here at the top. Here's your meter for cloud storage, telling you how much space you have at the Avid Cloud to upload to. And then down here in these little collab windows, this is where you share the file, and this is where you upload and download changes. So how do you make changes to a wave then and send those to somebody? So let's say I send them this microphone track, and I say, I don't know, I want to change the volume on it. So I just open that up. I can change the volume on it. And now you see where this green arrow has gone up. That means that there are now pending changes that need to be uploaded to the server. So that's all good and fine. But before I don't want to upload each change one by one. So what I would do is move some other knobs around. Let's say I change this gate setting for whatever reason. Let's say I move one of the knobs on the compressor somewhere. So now all of these changes are all included in this one green button now. So it's better to finish the track and then send your changes. So I've already shared it. As you can see, that's what's made me the owner. So now I'm going to click on that green arrow, and everyone that I'm collaborating with will receive something. So now it's important to go and look. Now that happened kind of quickly, so let me do that again. This time what I've got open is the task manager, and if you go up here into your, the time code and all this up here, right underneath where it says start, end, and length, there's some indicators. The little indicator you're looking for looks for like a little circle, a little spinning disc, and it says task manager status. So in this case, there's nothing going on in the task manager, but you would click that icon to bring up that window. So now you've got your task manager. So if you start making changes, you can see now in real time what's going on with your track. So let me make some changes again, get us kind of back to where we were, and now I'm going to upload that. And you can see right here it says posting mic and track data. So what it's literally doing is uploading the mic track as well as the associated media file. So if there were a wave here that I had pre-recorded, it would upload that. In fact, let's go ahead and just record some silence so that we have it. So right now this would be basically the equivalent of like a wave. This would be an instrument or a vocal or whatever it is that you're trying to send somebody. So now you've got this little piece of a wave file there, and you hit the up button, and you can see where it says it's posting the track, meaning that it's creating the track in their project file. It's sending the track data that I have changed as far as volume and whatnot, and now it's also uploading the wave that I just made. So you can see that taking place right here in the progress bar. So the moral of the story is do your recording first, make all your changes first, and then you can share a track. So do that. So let's look at some of the other features of collaboration. So again, to open the window, you can either open an app called Avid Link, which we referenced in our prior video. Let me pull this over here and log in real quick. All right, so I am logging back into Avid Link. And again, you know, this whole process is kind of time expensive in terms of time intensive, I guess. And you can see where it takes a little while to load up. It's not the best system, but it's what we got. So here's an example project file that I have shared with my friend Anthony in the past. It's called 72 Dub Stylings. It's just a kind of working title while we're messing around with it. But you can go into projects. Sorry, let me bring that back up. You can go over here into Pro Tools projects and bring that up. One thing that you're going to need to know if you ever use Avid Link is that it's basically a browser stuffed into Pro Tools. So what you have to do is right-click and reset, like over and over and over. So now here's the file that we're working on now. See, it didn't update automatically. You have to right-click and hit reset in order to get this to refresh, to load new projects and that kind of thing. So here's the project file in Avid Link. And we've already got it open. Otherwise, double-clicking that would open the project. And from here, you can see what I've already done. It says that we've created this file, that we're sharing the tempo, meter, chord, symbols, marker, and key signature. That's all of this up top here. We're sharing all this. I've created this mic track. I've uploaded changes. So it's just a log of everything that's happening in this file. Alternatively to Avid Link, you can go to File and Start Collaboration inside of Pro Tools. And right away, you can see it brings up a very similar window. However, this one actually updates on the fly, so you don't have to right-click anywhere and do reset. It will automatically update for you. And it's got the same information, so this is the log as well. So I prefer to use the built-in collaboration feature to Pro Tools, but again, sometimes you will go to open this up and it just will not work. So when that happens, you'll need to go to Avid Link and use that one. So let's go on back to our main menu here, and let's add somebody to this file. So I clicked this image of the person up top here with the little plus on it, and that is to invite the user. This also is the same as going to File and Collaboration, because it brings up the same window, and it defaults to right here. There's a little button again, and a little person with a plus. And if you already have contacts, you can add them here. So I'm going to add just everybody to this. So now it says that we've invited Anthony Spare, my friend. We've invited Logan Dennison. We've invited Papa Stith. We've invited Nathan Pendleton. So we've invited all these different people to the track. So what will happen now is that in Pro Tools, if they ever get Avid Link and happen to refresh it, or if they're in Pro Tools and happen to go to Collaboration, it'll bring up this window and it will show them new stuff over here. Your projects will pop up over here under My Projects. You'll get a little chat window here so that you can talk to people and collaborate with them. As you can see, I've sent myself a message saying nasty, and I stand by that message. And then you... So that's essentially the basics of collaboration in a nutshell through Pro Tools. I think it would probably also be beneficial to go through and look at some other more specific examples. So I'm going to pull up an old project file for our next installment of the How to Use Collaboration feature series. And I'll get that loaded up so that you can actually see in real time what happens when we make changes to files, what that looks like when you receive changes from other people, and all that kind of stuff. But this is a basic rundown of all these features here. And again, when you make changes, you just want to make sure that you first, after you're done making those changes, hit share track. That will add it to the project for everyone else, and then upload your changes using the arrow key. One last thing I want to cover before we move on to part 3 with a specific example is this. We have a series of plugins on the insert tracks right here. You can see I've got a gate, I have an FET compressor, and then I have a tube compressor. So I've got these lined up. It's just a vocal chain that I happen to like. So I've got that set up. And if you have any of these, now the gate, this one wouldn't be a problem because it's a built-in standardized plugin that comes with Pro Tools. So anyone that has Pro Tools first should have a copy of this gate plugin. However, this Arturia FET, the 1176, which I love and adore, if this if whoever I'm working with does not have this particular compressor as a plugin, then they will not be able to load it on their side in their project file. That makes sense, right? We don't all have the same plugins. Everybody's got different versions of different plugins. So in order to make that work, what you have to do is go over here where it says mic, and I've got my little WAV file saved here. So this would be however long my song is or my instrument track is. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to right click on the track heading. So I right clicked on mic, and I'm going to go down and I'm going to click commit and just select everything. And oh yeah, so this is sending to a reverb channel, so it's just telling me that whatever signal is going out in this send is not going to be committed to this track. And that makes sense because that's the whole reason you bus. You've got it on another track. But we'll talk about busing in another tutorial. So right here, I right-click mic. I went down. Let me do it again. Went down and I clicked commit. So let me do it one more time for you. Right-click, commit. And now I hit OK. And I ignore this message about the send. And watch what happens. It's going to render the track. There you go. So now all of my compressors, everything, the gate, the EQ that I had, if I had an EQ on there, everything has now been incorporated into the WAV file. So this means that when I share this track and upload it, let me show you the task manager so you can see. When I share this track and upload it to the people I'm collaborating with, it's gonna have this WAV file that is already compressed, already run through my compressors, already run through my EQ, all of that. The only thing that didn't survive was the send to this bus channel, which I can very easily just replace. So that's bus 1, 2, 1, 2, and then here. Let's just set it to 0 for now. So here we've got it's running through that bus again. So I've just fixed the error message. But an alternative would be to turn off the bus, and I could move, my reverb here, and then I could just adjust the dry wet signal to say, 10% wet. And that'll put a little reverb on there, and then I just commit it. So even though they don't have the Abbey Road Chambers reverb plugin, they will still have the effect of that plugin in the WAV file that they're working on. So this is why having a separate session and project file are important. Because when you're sending these files, you don't want to send a million changes plus plugins that somebody doesn't even have. They're not even going to hear what it is that you're trying to do. Likewise, if you had a MIDI instrument track, that would not go through. So what you've got to do is right-click, commit, and it will process your signal all through the plugins. But that also assumes that you have pre-recorded audio here. If you're trying to do something live, there's no way to commit a live track. So you've got to record using your plugins, and then once you've got your audio, then you can commit the track. It will then go through all your plugins and remove them from here, so that when you go to share the track and upload the changes, they get the processed audio with none of the error messages associated with the plugins. So that is the last thing I felt like it was very, very important. The next tutorial, I think we'll probably talk about, like I said, I'll get a live project open. We'll take a look at it. We'll see exactly how to send things back and forth and what that looks like for users on both sides. And then from there, I think we've pretty much covered everything here. So please like and subscribe if you're on YouTube. Hit the bell so that you can be told when we have new videos. And be sure to tune in on Sundays for the Psychedelic Sunday Sounds from noon to 2 p.m. Eastern, and also Monday nights for Live from the Fat Man from 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern, where we are bringing you a new local band every week from Lexington, Kentucky. And hope that you found this video useful and informative. Tell all your friends. Send us some money. Thanks.